delivery or a key-to-key outlook, right? Would you not agree? Yes? No? Maybe?
Yes.
Okay, so then when you're not hitting your cycle time numbers, what do you do as a manager or owner or whatever it is? Well, most of us, if you're honest with yourself, you try to figure out how a way to make your technicians go faster, right? Yes? True? Okay, the problem with that concept is that it's most likely not your technicians, it's most likely you that is the problem, just so you know. Most delays actually that time suck you come from your office, not from your techs. I'm not saying you don't have some techs that maybe could use a little help, right? But most of it comes from you. My point of the babble is when you actually use that board and cars get moved and they get time stamped every time they move, I can then go back, which you didn't briefly, they showed you the reporting functionality of the system, which is just off the chain, the amount of information you can get back from the board. But you can look at your cycle time from a department to department scenario as opposed from a key to key scenario. Now, why is that important?
See where you're bottleneck.
You can see where your delay is at instead of doing what I did my whole career and what probably a lot of us do, which is someone tells me my cycle time sucks. I want to improve my cycle time, so I go out and crack the whip, right? But that doesn't necessarily get it done. If I can look at the key to key, now if I can look at it segmented from department to department, I can then look and see how much time am I spending in admin on State Farm jobs, or on Allstate jobs, or on Toyotas, or on Nissans, or on red Camrys, or what, however you want to dissect it. Does that make sense? Right? So then you can actually look at your cycle time, and it gives you a lot more reporting than just cycle time. I'm just using cycle time. Then you can look at cycle time and actually make a plan on how you're going to tackle improving your cycle time. Make sense to everybody? So the advantage of Carbeat that it has over every single system that's out there right now is the deployment of it and how we get the techs to move the cars, and then you actually have a system that has real-time information in it, opposed to what you have right now, which most shops, and again, I don't know all shops, but I can say most shops, their information is dead on at 7 o'clock in the morning and at 7 o'clock at night. The rest of the time, it's kind of up or down, right? Because cars move and we don't keep up with it during the day-to-day. It gets updated when we walk the lot, right? And we update it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying your production people or you yourself don't update it here and there as it goes on, but is every single car always exactly in the spot where it's supposed to be on your production board, right? It's not, you know? So that's the big win. Now from that, I was talking about OEM certifications and all these things earlier in the class. From that, I can run a report on my work mix. How many Toyotas do I actually have in here? How many Camrys do I have in here? Versus Honda versus whatever, right? What insurance companies am I really getting the most work for? What insurance companies delay me the most in the admin process? So think about this. They come up to you and they say, Jose, Allstate, you're taking way too long in our cars. You go in there and look into Carbeat and you pull down and you're like, well, you know, I see what you're saying, Allstate, but you do realize, look, here's my report. It takes you 3.7 days to get out here on every single car. Geico gets out here in 1.7, Progressive gets out here in 2.2. Do you see where you're kind of the problem here? Do you see what I mean? Now, they ain't gonna want to hear that, but I will tell you right now, if you've got information like I just gave you right now, the debate becomes, it's a real conversation now. It's not just them telling you how the cow ate the cabbage. It's like, here's some real data. What do you want to do about it? Here's another thing it can do for you. So we all buy parts from people in here, right, to fix cars? Okay? You can also go in there and look and say, okay, who's taken the longest to get me parts? You can go in there and run a report on Toyota and see that every Toyota I have in the shop takes 2.7 days on average to get parts, whereas Honda gets me parts in 1.5 days. Why? I don't know. But I can call my Toyota vendor who I get my parts from and say, hey dude, what's going on? I call, you know, whatever Honda down the road, they have me my pieces in a day and a half. It takes you 3.5. Can you do something about that? Or do I need to find another Toyota dealership to buy my parts from? Or what do I got to do? Because they're kicking your ass right now. You see what I mean? So from a business decision and making better choices and just flat out loading your gun.
How is it time stamped with parts?
It timestamps it, okay, so there's a lot of things on the board, there's a lot that goes on. There's a lot that, so it will timestamp parts because, as it said to you in there, the tool is visual, right? And here's why the tool works, is your technicians are visual people, by the way. Everybody who works in the collision center is visual. So all those, and I don't want to pull the thing back up, all those dots and colors mean something, right? And so when you set the board up and we customize it to you, that red dot means that all the parts are here, or it means that they're not here. So we can run a report from that and pull that data. There's also a column for waiting for parts that, because you can customize that, so that would actually pull the data from there too. Right? It actually isn't pulling in all your parts, so it's not going to tell you that you're waiting for a left bumper's bracket. What it's going to tell you is that you don't have all your parts. Does that make sense?
Are techs going to be able to see like how many hours each job
Yes.
is, so that they'll be able to see what Tech A got versus Tech B?
They could,
in the
technically,
job?
yeah. They could see that, yeah, if they went over here and played with the board and looked at each individual RO. And there's some reports you can actually run that for the techs that actually show how many hours they have for the day, which kind of helps or for the week or whatever you want to do to help with turning in hours for payroll kind of thing. So yeah, they'd be able to see some of that. There's some controls they can put on it, the IT people, I think, to lock some people out of stuff. Yeah, there's different logins, right? For like, so my managers and owners in here, you would have a different login to get to the reporting side that probably your people wouldn't have, those kind of things. There's stuff put in place. So they can customize that to make it where people can't see what you want to see. But anyway, didn't mean to bunny trail too much on that, but if you are thinking about a production system out there and you're thinking about spraying Sickens paint, you really can't do any better than that. By the way, that system is a pass-through cost from Akzo to our Sickens customer. All you're really doing, and you're not even signing a contract with us, you are signing a contract with the people who make that, our Mantuan TV, and it's $360 a month for 36 months. As soon as that lease agreement's up, it drops down to $120. So you're just leasing equipment. That's what you're doing.
So it's only for Sickens customers?
Only for Sickens, right now. That doesn't mean that won't change, because you know how Akzo is. Right now, it's a Sickens only. So anyway, there's that. If you have questions about that kind of stuff, you can talk to me about it at the beer place, whatever. Phil was asking about it out there, so there you go. I don't really want to spend any time on this, I'm not going to lie. Does anybody use these words anymore? Mash, side sway, sag, buckle, diamond? Do you write that into your estimates yet? You do still? And it helps? Okay. Well, if in case you want it, there's the definitions of mash, side sway, sag, buckle, and diamond. There was a point in time for us old guys where we literally put this on every single estimate. It helped us get paid more money, right? More frame time back in the day. And if that still works for you here in Houston, I would say roll with it, right? What I am seeing is most places don't use the jargon as much as what they used to. Again, I don't know how y'all feel about that or not, right? Those definitions aren't in your book, so if you want them, there they are. Or I can give them to you if you email me. So, identifying structure damage as the car pulls side to side as a dog track. Does anybody know what dog tracking is? That's Texan stuff. You know what dog tracking is? No? Never heard of dog tracking? Dog tracking is when you look at the ass end of a car, and I'm sure everybody's seen this stuff when you're driving down the road, and it looks like the ass of the car is trying to catch the front end, right? And you've got 4 distinct tire marks in the rain out on the highway. That's because the whole damn frame's twisted and the car's dog tracking.
Is that when the dog that run funny?
Yeah, that runs sideways. So suspension jouncing, knocking noise, hard to steer, all those things, gaps, buckles, bends, broken plastic, change in height, all those things are indicators of structure damage, right? There's just pictures of gaps, like if we see a gap that's tight, probably, and this one's open, something's awry, right? Again, all these visual indicators tell you is I've got to get things apart so I can find the damage, or I've got to get a measuring system onto this car, which would be, quite honestly, what you really should be doing, because the human eye is not the way to fix these cars anymore. You've got to use the equipment that's out there. And you can buy a measuring system now somewhere around $25K or so. I know that sounds a lot of money, but
That's nothing.
yes. But I will say this on measuring systems, think about this. Right now we spend an awful lot of time negotiating with insurance folks on how much structure time we need to repair a car. I think I can make the argument that if we had a printout that justified what we were asking for, that negotiation time drops, and I feel like you'll probably get a little bit more time on each RO because you've got paperwork to back it up. So just think about it. Anytime you invest in equipment, it should be thought of as a return on investment thought process. So how am I going to get my money back on this welder or measuring system or whatever it is that I purchased, right? Because they're not a cost of doing business. They're something that you've got to have to fix the cars. That doesn't make them a cost of doing business, right? So at $25K for a measuring system, look at your RO count on a monthly basis. Tell yourself that I'm probably going to add an hour or two to every RO that I put this machine under, right? And then back into the math and see how quickly you actually get your money back on that. You know, not to mention the sleeping at night because you aren't worried about being liable for somebody dying because we didn't measure their car, right? There's that piece too, which is kind of hard to put a price tag on it and film. So there's some buckles. Again, they just tell us to look. The buckles and gaps and everything just tell us we need to look further. Crack seam sealer, same thing. So for those of you that said you still use side sway and sag, wider gaps at the doors and hood is sway. Fender to door gaps, narrow on the top, wider on the bottom is considered sag. Wrinkles, severe distortion on body panels is mash. Gaps and bumpers different from side to side is diamond or a twist. And change in height side to side is a buckle, right? Now here's what I wanted to get to. I'm hoping this might open some eyes to some people. So, just like our judgment exercise, these next couple pictures are a picture of a car that's pounded in the side, right? And what I want you to do is tell me, just write down in your book somewhere, how many hours you'll need to pull this car back square. So I don't want to know, and I'm going to give you 90 seconds because, again, that's about how much time you'd spend at the shop figuring this out, if we're honest with each other, right? So I'm going to show you the pictures again, right? And yes, I know the car's a total. I'm going to show you the pictures again, and what I want from you is just how much time to pull it back before you start repairing it. I don't want to know how much it costs to put the uniside in. I know it needs one. We all know it needs one, right? I just want to know the pull time. Is everybody with me? Yes? Kinda? So how much, yes, set, pull, right? That's it. Maybe measure. So here, I'll show you some better pictures, right? You can see it's just hit really low and hard in the side, right? The gaps. We've been talking about looking at gaps for visual indicators. The gaps on the deck lid are pretty close, right? They're not perfect, but I'll go back. Pretty close on the gaps, right? Uniform gaps front, side to side, pretty close. Okay? All right, everybody write a number down? Or do you need me to put it in a spot where I did say I'd give you 90 seconds, didn't I? Where's a good picture? No. I think that's the best one. So if y'all got it, everybody write a number down. There's none of y'all are going to be right, so it doesn't really matter. Did you write a number down? Huh? Yes, no, maybe? You got a number written down, everybody's got a number. Okay, we'll get back to it. Just one second, okay? I just want to move on so we can get to
Swag.
Yeah, well, that's the reality is we were going to swag it at the shop, so we just swagged it there, right? All right, so types of measuring systems that are out there. We'll get back to your little deal in just a second. Yeah. So types of measuring systems, center line gauges, again, we don't see much of that. Dedicated fixture, we talked about that a little bit, showed some pictures of it. a tape measure, which is a horrible option, but if that's all you got, great. Tram gauge, a universal mechanical system, laser, right, and computerized or sonic wave, which by the way, sonic wave has died, it's gone. That's Hein Warner sold out not that long ago, and they're out of this business. So if you have a Shark, anybody remember the Shark?
Yes.
If you have a Shark, there's no support for a Shark anymore. Yeah, there's no such thing, right? So there's a lot of really good measuring systems out there. The sonic wave is not going to be one of them anymore. But they give us this printout, and I don't know if y'all realize this, but within Hein Warner's system, they actually used to give us units, right? If you ever had one of these machines, it actually gave you units on what it felt like it needed to pull that or to fix that point, right? So here's the tolerance to table method that most of us in this world don't even know that they used, by the way. Because look, the reason why I need to bring this up, I'm not even telling y'all to use this per se, but when you need to decide if it's something viable for you or not. But when you're out there negotiating with these insurance people, one of the things they're trying to figure out from you is how did you get to this number, right? And if